Anthony Edwards' downfall isn't really about his game slipping. It's about everything happening off the court. From an assault allegation to a homophobic rant and a string of fines that seem to grow every time he shows up in the headlines, things are starting to spiral. So let's dive into this messy ride and figure out what's really going on with one of the NBA's brightest young stars. It all really started back in September 2022. Edwards went live on Instagram and made a homophobic rant that shocked a lot of fans. He used some harsh derogatory language to describe a group of men, and it didn't take long for the NBA to step in. He was fined $40,000, and though he did come out with an apology, calling his words immature, hurtful, and disrespectful, the damage was already done. It was the first major red flag in what would become a pattern of behavior that kept getting harder to ignore. Then in June 2023, things took another ugly turn. After a tough playoff loss to the Denver Nuggets, Edwards let his frustration get the best of him. He grabbed a folding chair and swung it on his way off the court. That chair ended up hitting two arena workers and caused minor injuries. Edwards was cited for third-degree assault, and while the charges were later dropped in July 2023, the incident raised serious questions about his emotional control in high-pressure situations. And just when you thought it might settle down, the 2024 to 2025 season hit, and things snowballed fast. That season turned into a highlight reel of fines and suspensions for Edwards, and not the kind you want to be remembered for. One of the first big blows was a $50,000 fine for making an obscene gesture at game officials after a heated exchange on the court. Not long after that, he targeted Lakers fans with a vulgar gesture and comment, another $50,000 fine. But the list didn't stop there. He was fined $100,000 for using profane language in a live TV interview. It was raw, unfiltered, and totally inappropriate for national television. Then came $75,000 more for slamming the officiating during a post-game interview, calling out referees in a way the league simply doesn't allow, and it kept going. In another outburst, he refused to leave the court after getting ejected, then threw the ball into the stands. That move cost him $35,000 and once again reminded everyone that his emotions often ran hotter than the scoreboard. Eventually, his record caught up with him. After racking up 16 technical fouls, Edwards was hit with a one-game suspension. For someone supposed to be the face of the franchise, and maybe even the future of the league, it was a concerning trend. One thing's for sure, you can't deny the guy's talent. No matter what's happening off the court, his performances speak for themselves. So let's jump in and take a closer look at what he brings to the game. It all began with the 2020 NBA Draft, which had already been pushed back 5 months because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But when the night finally arrived in November, the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't hesitate. They took Edwards with the number, first overall pick. And just a month later, on December 23, 2020, he made his NBA debut. Edwards dropped 15 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and handed out 4 assists in just 25 minutes, helping Minnesota to a 111-101 win over the Detroit Pistons. It was a solid start, but just a glimpse of what was coming. Fast forward to March 18, 2021. Edwards lit up the Phoenix Suns for 42 points, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. That performance made him the 3rd youngest player in league history to score 40 or more points in a game. By the end of his rookie season, he finished 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting and was named to the NBA All-Rookie First Team. Not a bad debut year at all. The next season, Edwards kept pushing the limits. On November 10, 2021, he scored a then career-high 48 points against the Golden State Warriors, including 7 three-pointers. Just a month later, on December 15th, he exploded for 38 points and broke the Timberwolves franchise record with 10 three-pointers in a single game. At just 20 years old, he became the youngest player in NBA history to hit double-digit threes in one night, breaking Kyrie Irving's previous record. That same season, Edwards reached 2,000 career points faster than anyone else in Timberwolves history. And on January 25th, 2022, in a win over the Portland Trail Blazers, he made history again, posting a stat line of 40 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals, and 5 three-pointers. No one in NBA history had ever done that before. He also joined Carmelo Anthony as the only players under 21 to score 40 points in a game without recording an assist. On April 7, 2022, Edwards kept it rolling, scoring 49 points in a win over the Spurs, yet another career high at the time. Then came his first taste of the playoffs. On April 16, 2022, he made a strong postseason debut, scoring 36 points and dishing out 6 assists in a Game 1 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Although Minnesota would eventually lose the series in 6 games, Edwards left his mark, dropping 30 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in the closeout game. Edwards didn't slow down in 2023. On January 21st, he scored 44 points, including a season-high 8 threes, along with 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in a win over Houston. Then in February, he earned his first All-Star selection, replacing an injured Stephen Curry. In the final game of the 2022-23 regular season, he put up 26 points, 13 rebounds, and a full stat sheet to help Minnesota clinch the 8th seed in the Western Conference play-in. He followed that with another historic playoff run, dropping 41 points in Game 2 against the Nuggets, setting a new franchise playoff scoring record. In Game 3, he scored 36 more, joining Kobe Bryant as the player with the second most 30-point playoff games before turning 22. By Game 4, Edwards once again stepped up, putting up 34 points and helping the Timberwolves force overtime and steal a win. Though Minnesota was eliminated in Game 5, Edwards still shined with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Before the 2023-24 season, he changed his jersey number from number 1 to number 5, and with that came another leap forward. In November, he was named NBA Western Conference Player of the Week for the first time, averaging over 31 points and leading Minnesota to a perfect 4-0 week. On January 27, 2024, he posted a near triple-double with 32 points, 6 rebounds, and a career-high 12 assists. By February, he had earned his second straight All-Star selection. Then on April 9th, he dropped a then career-high 51 points against Washington. To cap off the season, Edwards was named to the All-NBA second team, his first time earning that honor. The playoffs that followed were even more impressive. In Game 4 of the first round against the Phoenix Suns, Edwards scored 31 of his 40 points in the second half to help close out the series. It marked the Timberwolves' first playoff series win in 2 decades, and Edwards passed Kevin Garnett for the most 30-point playoff games in franchise history. He wasn't done. In Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals, he scored a playoff career-high 43 points in a win over Denver. That tied him with Kobe again, this time as the only players with back-to-back 40-point playoff games before turning 23. Then in Game 4, he broke his own record, scoring 44 points in a loss, setting a new franchise playoff high. In the Western Conference Finals against Dallas, Edwards had a near triple-double in Game 4, finishing with 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists to keep Minnesota alive. Even though the Timberwolves eventually lost the series in 5 games, Edwards' consistency stood out, especially his 28-point, 9-rebound, 6-assist performance in the finale. The 2024-25 season saw Edwards keep climbing. On January 4, 2025, he dropped a career-high 53 points, including 10 three-pointers against Detroit. Just 3 weeks later, he became the Timberwolves' all-time leader in made threes, passing Karl-Anthony Towns with 976. By January 30th, he had earned his 3rd straight All-Star selection. Then on February 5th, he scored 49 points against Chicago and tied Kevin Garnett for the second most 30-point games in team history. The very next day, he followed it up with 41 points, officially passing Towns for the most 40-point games in franchise history. At just 23 years old, he also became the youngest player in NBA history to reach 1,000 career three-pointers. A few days later, he kept the streak alive, putting up 44 points against Cleveland, making him the first Timberwolf ever to notch 3 straight 40-point games. On April 10th, he scored 44 again, including 18 in a single quarter during a record-breaking 3rd quarter against Memphis. By season's end, Edwards had made 323 pointers, becoming the first player in team history to hit 300 in a season and ranking 7th all-time in NBA history for made threes in a single year. He also finished third in NBA Clutch Player of the Year voting, yet another reminder of just how dangerous he is when the game is on the line. And the playoffs, still electric. On April 27, he scored 43 points in a Game 4 win over the Lakers. Then, in Game 1 of the second round against Golden State, he pulled down a playoff career-high 14 rebounds. In Game 5, he guided Minnesota to their second straight trip to the Western Conference Finals with a 22-point, 12-assist performance. In Game 3 of that series, Edwards exploded again, dropping 30 points in just 3 quarters during a 143-101 win over the Thunder, the Timberwolves' highest-scoring playoff game ever. Even though they fell in 5 games, Edwards had clearly cemented himself as the heart and soul of the franchise. And that wraps up the video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you never miss out on future updates. See you next time. Bye.